Because what is the value of Messianic Jewish practice? When I look at the Moedim and I look at everything that we see, and particularly as we look at today's Torah portion, there is a huge blessing. A huge blessing. Because, first of all, it entrenches us as, for those that are Gentiles that didn't have a Jewish background, it entrenches us in the roots of our faith in the Tanakh. It establishes us in an inheritance of what was given to the apostles and who Yeshua was and how Yeshua lived his life, and it helps us be established in our inheritance in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Bible. It also connects us to Yeshua and his lifestyle. It brings us a blessing today because all of these Moedim, all of them are kind of set on a pattern that point back to what God has done in points of redemption throughout history. But not only that, it points us to what's going to take place and transpire in the future. And if these are things that are going to be lived out in the Messianic era to some extent, why would we not want to enjoy in that today? And so I think that that's important. We start counting the Omer each one of the nights after Bikurim, after the day after Passover, after unleavened bread, the first Shabbat of unleavened bread. And in each one of those nights, you say a bracha, you say a blessing, you count the night, you count the day, so you would say, for example, tonight will be night 42. So you'd say today is 42 days of the Omer, which are 42 days, which are 6 weeks of the Omer. And then after that, you say another blessing, and then you conclude with a psalm. Everybody know what the psalm is, right? Psalm 67, right? Because, why? It's really beautiful when you look at the psalm. Now, some think that maybe Psalm 67 originally was probably done as some kind of harvest theme that had to do with the fall harvest, like maybe something that was done at Sukkot. By the way, there is a connection to Pentecost, to Sukkot, if you think about it thematically. But all that said, it later became associated with the festival of Shavuot, Psalm 67. And why? Well, one of the things, again, Shavuot is referred to as first fruits of the wheat harvest. So it is a first fruits harvest, right? It is a harvest. And of course, Psalm 67, if you look at it, and it mentions this, but it also, if you take away the title, Lemnatseach ben Genot Mizmor Shir, if you take that away for the conductor upon the Nignos, a psalm, a song, if you take that section away and you count up each one of the Hebrew words of the psalm, you get 49 Hebrew words, corresponding with each day for the Omer count. So it became significant that this psalm was associated with each one of the nights that you count from Bikurim after Passover up to Shavuot. And Shavuot is the 50th day, right? Which, again, today's Torah portion, into that interesting connection, right? It points to a Jubilee. And the Jubilee is when all things are gathered in, all things, each man return to his own property. There's a law of return. There's a law of freedom. There's a law of restoration in God's kingdom. And that is what this is pointing us to. Just as Sukkot is called Chag HaAsif, the Feast of Ingathering, in the same way Shavuot is a feast that points to the Jubilee year and all things after redemption being brought about to their fulfillment.